Yeah. Hello there, everybody. Today it seems like we have a German Dave, just a German Dave. Dash was supposed to be here, but he's not here. So I don't know when and if he will join. So as long as he's not here, you guys are stuck with me. And honestly, that's the worst possible situation because I didn't watch our last game versus Al because it was at 3 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, 3 a.m. It says in the morning. And I genuinely yeah, didn't care enough to wake up to watch the match, yeah. I watched the extended highlights afterwards, and it was basically what I wanted, guys. But before I go into that, please like and subscribe. Join the channel if you want to have a bit fun here. You guys know we are here a pretty light-hearted, lot of laughter and banter channel. So yeah, man, join us if you wanna have a bit fun. Shooting our shit on Juventus on our new Monday show, the as it is called now, the Euro Dive show, where we dive into the top 5 European leagues. Again, yeah, we watch the top 5 European leagues. Right now, we cover a bit of Club World Cup, a bit of transfers, and yeah, if we get yeah to the time where Champions League starts again, we will watch a bit of Champions League as well. So yeah, man. So did you guys all watch the match? I guess you did, right? Oh, hold up. Before we go into the match, I have one last obligation to do because y'all know how much fun the Discord is. Join the Discord. There's the QR code on the screen for you guys. Like and subscribe, of course. And all the all the paperwork done, guys. Let's shoot our shit now. So yeah. Should we hold up? Let me go through the comments and then we will go to the game because we have a couple of Club World Cup comments already. I don't know why you would unsub Diluvium. I wrote it in the chat. I could have given at least an explanation, or if it's sarcasm, I don't know. But hey, thank you. Anyways, yeah, make Juventus great again. What I've been saying for years from KB. When I woke up, um, and saw that, I swear I thought it was AI. But I didn't see like the first pictures or the first content of where Juventus visited Trump. I swear I didn't believe that shit. And I woke up, saw the thumbnail Dave made for Canadian Dave or Maple Dave made for this show, and my God, I was in shock when it was confirmed in Discord by all of you guys that it was true, and they've like took care of it pretty much early. And yeah, I didn't have Juventus visiting the White House and Donald Trump on my bingo card, I guess. Yeah, it is what it is. I didn't watch the full thing. I only saw bits of it because I'm working pretty much full time from home. I don't know if it's similar for you guys, but when I work at home, I have to do even more because I'm slower and a bit more lazy with all the yeah with how I can distract myself with other things, eating. I don't know, short workout, biceps pumps and all of that, with biceps curls basically. And dude, I'm having way too much fun at home since I injured my knee. I'm not driving to work, or I do sometimes, but when I do it with public transport because I don't want to risk a car accident, man, because I can't push the brake pedal properly. Yeah, man. When it popped up somewhere on my phone, I thought it's fake from LJJ, but Gianni Agnelli was the only guest ever to be invited. Ah, okay. Yeah. Eddie's comments, can't read those out. And then 10 toes down, leading us to our beautiful match against Alain, which like I said, didn't watch the didn't watch the game, of course, because it was goddamn late or early for me, depending on how you see it. So
I showed
very
I
happy.
showed Alain's defense, non-existent.
Yep, you left me alone. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, you watched the match, so I throw you right there into the
But
court.
oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's great for
Yeah,
the
I didn't
players.
I didn't watch it live,
Yeah, it
so it
wasn't.
would have been kind of pointless if you left me alone here.
Oh, I know. Where's the drama? Honestly, really, it was one of those things where like I watched the first half. The second half, like, oh my goodness, it was atrociously bad. Um, the good news for the first half was at least they know how to find the back of the net. The bad news is Aline did not press them whatsoever. It was pretty atrocious how they played. Like, I mean, did it go into the expectations that you and I had that we should blow those guys out? Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
It was, yeah, it was not
yeah.
not good at all from them. It's probably the first and only time that we will probably see 5 goals in one match, unless we do it. And I doubt that we do it against Casablanca, just because Casablanca is a very athletic team. But yeah, that Alien team was. I'm sorry, it was atrocious. But ironically, though, as atrocious as they are, the biggest thing that I have, and again, Tudor hasn't fixed, is us getting beat through the middle and over the top. Alaline had 3 great chances. It's just their strikers just felt like kicking it straight to Di Gregorio on those times. But I'm still looking or waiting for it to see if Tudor's ever going to do any kind of smart defensive lineups or any kind of adjustments on that, because literally I was talking with Primo and Sal watching the game, and it was again like the Venezia game when they were cutting us through defensively. And again, you play against a team that actually has quality, they will punish you for it. Those 3, as you can see on the chart there with the momentum, um, those were again all opportunities that they could have scored, but they squandered pretty
They had
badly.
like one big spike here, and it's
Yeah,
not even like this is a span of how much? 7, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, where they had the ball. If you think
yeah.
about it. Hold on. Oh no, sorry. 3 minutes, 29, 24. Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Because again, right, I where I sit there and I think again, Al Ain had 5 shots on target, which to me is just again defensively. You have 5 put on you, you're conceding 1 or 2 if you're playing against a team that knows how to convert their chances.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing there. I mean, the lineup, right? It was bad, honestly. The backline lineup was just atrocious. It
Yeah.
was Kelly, Savona, and Kalulu. Uncoordinated as hell. There was times where it was a 2v2 and both players, or it was Kalulu or Kelly or Savona, were both chasing the ball carrier, leaving the other person wide open. Um, again, I'm just a little bit frustrated where it's like you don't put in Rugani, or you, even though, like, for example, yeah, you put in Gatti and Gatti was rusty, but I don't know. Kelly was bad, but he almost got 2 goals, which was funny. I know 10 toes down and I were cheering for it in Discord to see if he could bag one. But again, right, like when you're looking at it, we're cheering for Kelly to get a goal. That's kind of where your competition level is at. Where it's I'm trying to look at it from the positive. Like Alberto Costas he played well. Conceição played well, but it's hard for me to really give you a thing, right? Like a proper look at this without saying, like, even the commentators were saying that this felt like a training match. This felt like you were
It
playing a
was. It
series.
was.
Yeah, you were playing a Serie D, not even a Serie D, a Serie E team at the Conte Nassa for shits and giggles. Like that. That's how atrocious this team was. Um, no pressing from Alaline at all. There was barely any kind of pressing. There wasn't really any tackling or challenges or anything. Like Conceição just effectively walked in or cut in to get those goals. And again, it's not any disrespect to Conceição, but when you're playing against Serie A teams, when you're playing higher level of competition, you're not going to be afforded the space that these guys got. Kolo Mulignani, again, great header, great touch on the second goal. Like the technical ability from Kolo, from Yildiz with his shot, all of those were great. Because again, I don't want to come on here like a sourpuss because apparently people get triggered over that. The technique was good for the goals. I don't think this is a great benchmark to sit here and say, this is like IFTV is saying, it's been a while since we've seen Juve play beautiful football. And it's like, I don't know. It was just kind of, but yeah, Gatti looked kind of really, really lackluster when he came in. Dusan looked atrocious. Like Dusan made that back line look way better than what they were in the first half. Missed touches, still get bossed around. Like this game did not help Dusan's stock at all. I was hoping that he would put in a decent performance just to get his resale value, but teams are going to watch this film and say, okay, this guy wants how many million a season? Because again, like Lloyd Kelly had better chances to convert than Dusan this match. And you mean to tell me that Dusan and I don't bullshit. Tudor told us to ease the foot off the gas. Let's stop it. Yeah, Dusan needs to get goals so he can get more playing time. So there's no foot off the gas. He's just bad. And then again, like I don't understand why Rugani wasn't put in, or even like for example, Kostic as well, because they're players that you need. Like for example, especially Kostic, right? If you're gonna move him, if you're gonna keep him, you at least gotta have them play, right? Like for example, Douglas Luiz, fine. I again kind of who said it on there? Someone said I'm surprised Conceição. Yeah, LJJ, I'm surprised Chico played the full 90 minutes. Because like even the substitutions, if you scroll down, German Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Like for example, Coop Myers, he came in, he struggled. Gatti came in, he struggled. Dusan came in, he struggled. I don't know. Like it's just even though the team's had a month off, well, the team's been off for a month plus some folks with international duty. I don't see anything out of this team yet. Like for example, Primo and I were talking about it as well, and Sal, like it was jumbled. Like the positioning of the players were jumbled. Like there wasn't really proper positioning or kind of organization. It was just kind of, again, like the commentators are saying, it was like a training match. Like it was just all over the place. It wasn't, anything too structured or organized. There's, again, like I said earlier, there's not really much to really take away from this besides that, hey, Conceição's technical ability is good. Kolo Mulignani has a touch and a shot, and our backline is bad. Like it is atrocious. Like I still don't understand why we're linked with Gyökeres when you seriously need center backs. Because you look at that starting lineup, only Kelly is a center back, and Kelly's the only center back on the pitch.
Yep.
Like I don't, for me, again, I don't understand why you're playing Kalulu, Savona, and Kelly. And again, I hold Tudor 100% responsible, or in this case, I will call him Goofdor until I see anything good. The next game, to be honest with you, what I'm very curious to see is how we line up against Casablanca, because Manchester City struggled with them because, again, physical and athletic players, and they'll be aggressive, and I'm kind of curious to see what they'll do as far as that, because again, City has way more firepower than we do, and they only put 2 on them. I'm assuming when City plays this team, they'll probably hang 7 or 10. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I think I'm very curious to see how Tudor lines up against an actual seasoned coach and Pep Guardiola and see how he handles that game. I'm hoping by then you would start Kelly, Gatti, and Rugani, their actual center backs. But again, I don't understand the logic of playing a 3-4-3 when you only have one center back on the pitch. And you're using Savona as your main center back and
Yeah.
Kalulu as your right center back. It just it doesn't make sense to me tactically. I still don't understand it. Maybe he's onto something that we don't know, but I that's kind of my thoughts in a nutshell from yesterday.
Yeah. So something that came to my mind. Number one, like the only thing I cared about in this match was the result. Like I didn't expect like tactical, I don't know, tactical intricate defense by Al. Like that's not what I expected. You look at the players, you look at the coaching, you look at the difference in levels of talent, and I expected the blowout. Like it needed to happen. Like anything close would have been honestly a shame, and we should have been embarrassed if we didn't score 4 or
Well,
5
yeah.
at least.
Yeah, and we said that, right? It had to
And
be
yeah,
2 wouldn't be okay at all.
yeah, yeah. In the end, it was a glorified training match, and for what it was positive, right? Like we got in the end the result we wanted, but I'm not going to hype the team up. Like we had a bit of defensive like lapses, like we were a bit lackluster sometimes. It was, and neither was it our best personnel. Like we desperately need defenders, like Dash said, or center backs. Let's not say defenders. We have enough fullbacks, wing backs, and all of that. We need like proper center backs, and that is what we have to pay attention to right now. That is the most important. The game versus Casablanca will be exactly the same, in my opinion. Maybe a bit more competitive because Casablanca, I think, is a bit more of a seasoned team. I will again confess I haven't watched a Casablanca match in my life. So, but from the reports and watching statistics and how they line up and actual like football experience, Casablanca is the better team. So let's see how we will do there. But again, it will not be important how we play against them. The first important game will be Manchester City. That is where you will see or have to see the how tactically advanced we are, the level of our players, and the level of our players is not great. But let's see, like if we perform versus Manchester City, that maybe gives us a platform to build up upon. But still, we need center backs. That's the most essential, basically.
Yeah, and kind of what 10 Toes Down is saying, and that's what I saw when I watched Casablanca versus City, is that they're very physical, athletic and physical. Tactically, they're not anything crazy, but again, my concern is most of our guys outside of McKennie and Thuram are small. They're
Yeah.
not strong physically. So
They
I'm
they tried to break Manchester City down, like, physically. They just tried to body them, slide tackles, grabbing, and all of that, like, not allow them into rhythm in the match, and they did reasonably well. Like, they held Man City to a 2-0, it was, I believe, in the
yeah.
end, and it worked kinda. Like, they had a couple of counters and were dangerous as well if they had, like, proper strikers with quality, of course. Then they could have scored as well, so in the end,
I mean,
it
they
it
were
was
able to
it was competitive,
they
more than
put
ever
12 they
competitive.
put 12 shots on Man City, 2 on target, 1
Yeah,
big chance that they missed.
yeah,
So the opportunity was there. Foul wise, they were level, but uh, again, a point 0.5 expected goals on City, where City had a
yeah,
1.92. Um, I'm curious again. I think again, Casablanca is going to play you aggressive. They're going to play you hard.
yeah, yeah,
We'll see. We'll kind of see because I don't know. They've got pace. They've got some decent quality on the wings as far as experience and physicality that goes with it, and they line up in a 5-4-1. So that's going to be a very very low block esque lineup
yeah.
because Al Ian lined up in a 5-3-2 with us, but again, those guys to me and
Honestly, I didn't even saw any semblance of a defensive lineup like it was. I'm sorry, but it was we played against Headless Chicken, where
like
nobody know where to stand and how to hold the line properly, how to defend a higher line. Like they were just standing. Like they didn't defend man v man. They didn't defend the zone. They didn't play a high line. No pressing. Like it was like just a. I'm sorry to say it, but just a training match.
Yeah, I again, that's where even like for example, the commentators from DAZN were just saying like this is atrocious. Like again, that's it's tough, right? I want to sit there and say yes, it was great. We won 5-0, but at the same time, it's one of those 5-0s where like yeah, and I was watching with my dad, and I kind of wish I did a watch along and had him next to me because he was just kind of like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yep.
And that's where his biggest complaint was like, he's like, Conseil Sao is just walking by these guys.
Yep. Pylons.
So it's
Oh, this
it
honestly put it down as job done, and
yeah, that's what it is, right?
there's nothing more to say.
Yeah, we'll kind of see again how it looks with Casablanca, and that's kind of that's going to be the first measuring stick in my opinion. If you blow those guys out by 5 or 6, then we can start looking at it from okay, we might actually have an offensive team. But look, if you can't sit here and acknowledge the fact that there were misplaced passes, lots of misplaced passes,
Oh, there were.
lots
Yeah.
of missed
Oh, yeah.
touches, bad defensive organization and shapes. Because, like, for example, there was times where Thuram fumbled the ball twice and nobody pressed him. Whereas if you're playing against City and you fumble a
A
touch,
counter
or
attack immediately.
you would get blasted and get hit with a counterattack. So that's where again, I don't know what to say. I just it's really weird because I haven't seen us play against a team that was just there to be there. Um, because again, if the first goal from the passes, it looked nice from the one touches, but again, even the commentators were saying it. It's like they didn't press any of those passes or any of those actions. And then again, like the lofted ball over the top for Colo for his goal, Conceição dribbling. And then, like, for example, Yildiz just kind of takes it and just says F it and rips a shot off. Like it's great, right? Like from an offensive display and a talent level, it shows and it was good because again, Dusan couldn't do anything when he came in. Koopmeyers was whiffing shots. Like Dusan and Koopmeyers still looked effectively bad. And then we didn't even get to see Nico Gonzalez. But we knew that going into this game that Colo is decent. Conceição is decent. Yildiz is your offensive mastermind. And those were the ones that performed. Alberto Costa is probably, again, I think we expected him to go on an upward trajectory. And this kind of shows again how much of an idiot that Thiago Motta is for keeping him on the bench for so long. And then it's like
season basically.
and then again, like for example, with Cambiaso and Costa, now you have effectively decent to above decent wingback / fullback play. Again, Thuram, you kind of knew what you were getting with him going into this game as well. Same thing with McKennie. So there's not really much that like from the offensive department that was like, okay, there's something new. There's a different way that we're going about this. Still, I don't like the fact that Al Ain exposed us defensively. That's the one thing that I'm a little bit annoyed with is that they had 5 shots on target. 2 were kind of iffy towards the goalie. We're not really challenging much, but they had 3 shots that were, again, you put that in a better finisher, they're going into the back of the net. And if people want to call me negative for it, sorry guys,
Honestly,
I'm not going to clap my hands like
I
a
think
seal.
look, I think for this or for the first 2 matches, I will give the team the benefit of the doubt, right? Because I
You
don't
have to.
think that you will play your best playing style in one of these matches. Like usually where you bring the most intensity, the most concentration is when you play opponents that are on your level or above your level. That is why sometimes you play down to competition and all of a sudden when we play Inter, we perform, right? Because it's hard Like the great teams that are winning titles, like you can bank on them winning the matches versus the small teams. Like those are important. Like big games, you usually draw them. Like Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal this season, they tied a lot of matches. Of course, yes, Arsenal has blown Manchester City away in one of those games, 5-1 or something. But overall, those games are draws usually. You win it, you lose in the small games. Like we won these, job done. But I will not hype the team up. We will see the proper quality, and if Tudor is able to build something slowly with an off season now, like the off season after the Club World Cup will be decisive. And yeah, the game versus Manchester City, and when we advance, depending on the next opponent, we will see how the team will do. Do you remember last season when we talked about pre-game matches? This is of course like a big competition. Um, you guys don't need to say that, I know, but you can essentially use this as a preseason as well, or as a preseason as preseason friendlies, where you implement tactical stuff, try different players, see how they perform, and all of that. So yeah, the first two matches, I will not be fussed about it. If we play catastrophic, it will be catastrophic, and the backlash of it. Dude, Porto today, was it today? Yeah, it was today, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
earlier, a couple hours ago. Lost to Inter Miami, and they embarrassed all of us
they
Europeans, man.
did. Oh, the way that they played was
Thank you,
embarrassing.
Porto. Thank you,
That
Porto.
that was absolutely atrocious.
To that dog shit of an Inter Miami team. But let's not
Messi and
go
friends.
into that.
Messi and
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. And yeah, on a just win against Casablanca as well. Try to make it decisive. I'm not saying again 4-0, 5-0, but show me a dominant performance. That's all I want.
Yeah, again, for me, I wanted to see if there was any kind of tweaks or adjustments to the weakness that we had when Tudor took over the team, and it's still present. So, again, like for example, with us in the Nuremberg match that we used last season, right? Yeah, it was a preseason. We said it's not that big of a deal, but we kind of
But you
looked
see
at it.
patterns. You
You
can see
see
patterns.
patterns, and that's what we were looking for, right? Because ironically, right, what was the team that exposed us in the Champions League, or that was the first sign of, "Uh-oh, something's not right here." Even though we came back and we won against them, it was a German
Leipzig.
team. So that kind of was the thing where it was like it was similar to the Nuremberg match where we're kind of like, "Oh boy, we're starting to see something there." And that's where again, all the pieces started to fall, and then we started understanding that again we struggled with low blocks because I think we played at Atletico Madrid and we struggled with them playing a low block. So right now, again, kind of what I'm saying and kind of what Dave and I are saying here is let's look at it from Juve versus City to have a real proper assessment with how it is. Really, honestly, again, my biggest takeaway from this match and the next match is it just how are we going to handle the defensive weakness? Um, because again, if you don't get these center backs, or if you're not prioritizing on center backs and you're prioritizing on figuring out Dusan's contract situation or Gyökeres, I think again, for me, that's kind of a minus towards Komoli if that's what he's trying to do right now. Where I think again, you have way bigger issues to deal with than a striker. I'm assuming that you've already gotten Cole Munyani extended. I don't even understand the reasoning to lower Dusan's contract at this point. Ship him out.
But if you can't and nobody wants to pay that money, the best solution. Look, I know we dislike him, right? But I think the cheapest option, and that gives us maybe a chance to sell him in the next upcoming years, is if he stays for a while. Because right now, with how he's playing, with his mentality, like it's dog shit. And if he slashes a bit of his salary, that will help. Yeah.
No, it still doesn't help me if it's 9. If it's 9, it doesn't help me because it's only
No,
3 million
I
more.
know I know it's still a lot, but at that point, if you can sell him, at least extended for 1 or 2 seasons, or how long ever the contract extension will be, lower the wages, and that gives you a bit of time to find something. Because right now it's again a Chiesa situation.
It is, but I think again at this point they need to send a message. Either if he doesn't extend, you bench him for the whole season and you don't lose him, or you don't use him, and then when he signs for a team, no one's going to pay him anything because he didn't play for a whole season. You give him the Icardi treatment. Because look, this is the one thing I will give Inter credit for was when Icardi was doing some bullshit towards them, Inter said, "Okay, train by yourself. You're not being featured in the team at all." And that's what they did.
Yeah.
They bought Lautaro and they just said, "Go ahead, work out on your own."
Yeah,
That is what that is
but
what
Inter
Dusan
built
needs.
a talented team. We can't afford to do that right now.
I think you can to send a message, absolutely.
But
You're
but
already taking a loss.
but who do we have behind Colo? Like if Colo stays.
You could
If not, we
literally
have nobody.
I understand that, but you could literally get anyone at that point.
But we don't. We are not connected to any sort of a striker. And Gyökeres, I'm sorry, it's not a possibility. That's just a lie
That to me would have been
wherever.
yeah, that would have been one of the most dumbest moves ever, in my opinion, if you were to go for Gyökeres.
Yeah.
Like the fact
I'm not saying this disrespectfully, like to him. He's a
no,
great
he's a good
striker. Like
player.
he is the full package.
It
But
just doesn't we don't
to
need
go
that.
out there and pay 75 to 90 million, what Sporting wants now, is just dumb. In a situation where we are, where we have already 20 million salary like committed to a striker that we have to get rid of at some point, and we have like zero backup strikers because Milik is not in the plans, and Koulibaly, if he stays. Great, it's a loan. Um, but yeah, like our striker situation is bad, but spending 75 million on it is not the correct way.
Again, I think you could find a 15 to 20 million euro striker from a different country and you just
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
him in
Oh,
and they
absolutely.
sit behind. And I think that is what you need to do. I
Yeah,
don't see a reason for them to splash cash on
yeah.
strikers. And I'm
I
sorry to Primo, but like it makes no sense for them to overpay for an Italian striker in Serie A because this is again kind of one of the critiques I have for Comoli because he blatantly put the statement out there allegedly where I want to buy players from Serie A like Bayern does for the Bundesliga. Well, guess what? You can't really do that here without overspending on players that aren't worth a damn. And this is one of the things that I hate about Juve's strategy is that you guys put that shit out there and now everyone's like, "Oh, hey, look at that. Juve wants to buy in Serie A again. Okay, great. Let's do some inflation."
By the way, that is such a lie. Bayern, since almost a decade, is buying from everywhere now. Like
Yeah,
that story of Bayern just buying inside of the Bundesliga is complete lie.
that
It's
that
dead
I
end.
was going to say that pretty much ended with Götze, Lewandowski and there was one more that they got from Dortmund. But
From
they stopped.
Dortmund.
It was those
Hummels.
Hummels. Yeah, it was Hummels. So, like, they did that, and then they kind of pivoted away from that. I again, I'm not a fan of that comment where you're just like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna do that." Well, congratulations. Now you've effectively alerted Serie A to raise their prices on mediocre talent, and that's what Serie A is gonna do. Because the only way, like for example, the only way that you're gonna effectively do stuff is if you and again, the jury's still not out yet because he still needs more games to really bonify himself. But smart purchases, I'll give credit to Gentile where he made some smart purchases. Like Alberto Costa's a smart purchase.
But that's not what we're criticizing. The thing we were criticizing is it started with how he treated Allegri, right? We said, okay, you want to get rid of him, you have to be the one responsible for whatever happens after that. And then he got Thiago Motta, forced Cope Miners like onto the club, even though he didn't fit Motta's philosophy. And he brought an egomaniac of a coach into the club and didn't deal with the consequences early enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like let it lingering till we lost like how many games on the bounce, and which game did we was it Parma that we lost to? The embarrassing match, the last one because before he was fired. And yeah, it was way too late, but yeah, in the end, he got rid of Motta and corrected that mistake. That again cost the club a lot of money. And in that instance, I understand the club. You created a financial disaster with couple of the players you got and the coach you got, and now you have to fire him, get another guy in. And that's why in the end he went. Like, I'm not criticizing him for bringing in Juan Cabal, for Alberto Costa, for who else did we bring in? Sorry. Why don't I have our team in mind?
Well,
Kalulu he brought in, that is okay in my opinion. The Conceição loan was a good loan, right? Kolomuani,
hold on.
like,
So
to get him in January.
let me ask you this for Conceição, because you pay 10 million for a loan, and if you have to pay 30 million to purchase him outright, that's a $40 million deal. And you think that's a good deal still?
No, that's not, but it's quality is not great, but it's not a disaster.
Because
And
10 million for a
and
dry loan, I think, is a bit much.
no, it is a bit much, but we got an additional 1.5 to 2 months out of him because he is playing at the Club World Cup. So in the end, it may help you with money.
Because
So it's not a financial disaster. Like 10
no, I
million
mean,
for a dry loan is a lot, and we didn't even have an option. Like, it was just an agreement to be the ones to negotiate with Porto first.
because like for example, if Porto gives it to you for 20 and your overall purchase for him is 30, I'm not too upset with that. I think that's good business if you're able to get him for 30.
Yeah.
But if they charge you 30 for him, that's 40, or if they charge you 40 or anything like that, I think that's a little bit outrageous. I don't
40
envision
would
them.
be outrageous.
I
30, I wouldn't be too fussed about. Like 10 mils more or less is in that case for a Conceição that is still in his early 20s. I'm not too fussed about that. Plus, he is right. Like, if we actually get him at that price, he's right now building a reputation, man. Like, he's almost single-handedly won Portugal the Nations League as well. He is showing himself on the big stage, and if he continues playing in this tournament, like, he scored a brace already. Like, why not? If it gives you a player with value, I would do it.
Yeah, again, I'm fine with it there, and then again with the Colo loan, I think that's fine. I'm kind of curious to see what they negotiate for the option or the obligation for Colo to get him, because he's technically not extended for next season. I don't think it's official yet or it's done. If he's able to, again, moving Lloyd Kelly, you got to figure out how to do that. That's going to be one thing, but um, it's interesting to see, and again, that's why I'm not a big fan of the whole buy in Italy concept, because um so I don't know if you're aware of this transfer, but Brighton purchased Diego Coppola from
Yeah,
Hellas Verona, right?
yeah,
The
I know.
21-year-old center back for 10 mil. So
That's
our
a
good
great price.
it's a great price. Our good friend Marco was complaining about it, saying, well, if young Italians need to leave Serie A more. If Serie A overlooks you for just 10 million, go abroad and make them regret it. I think that's a very ignorant comment, because
Not
if
10 million
Juve
in Serie A. Yeah.
yeah, if Juve wanted Coppola, that's 20 to 25. Same thing with the Milan teams. Any other team, they would have
Yeah.
charged 25 or 30 million.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, I'm praying that Comoli understands this, because that, unless he is a wizard negotiator, um, you're going to run into this all the time. And this is where it's going to be the biggest hurdle. And I think, again, it's the biggest hurdle for Italy is Serie A, especially those lower teams, need to understand, like, hey, maybe I should stop overpaying or overcharging. But the problem is the big clubs are okay with paying these fees, and that's what's hurting, and it's causing this really bad cycle over and over. Um, the big thing is for Coppola is if Brighton is looking for you, or if Brighton wants you at 21 years old, that means you're a pretty good player, in my opinion, because Brighton has one of the best scouting in the world.
No, but he was always a good player. Like, when we played Verona and we did a scouting report on them, we said always that he's a really good center back.
Yeah, and again, like I'm not frustrated with why we couldn't get him, because I understand why we couldn't get him, because they would have charged us 30 million. And in my opinion, again, if you're paying 30 to 35 million for a 21-year-old center back, it's outrageous. Look at Real Madrid with Dean. Dean looked atrocious against Al Hilal.
Yep.
They paid 60 plus for Dean Huijsen, and Huijsen was garbage. Like, really bad. He turned the ball, he gave a sloppy pass, turned it over. The fact that Al Hilal isn't a better team, like, that looked bad. So kind of hoping folks, that was the outrage of Dean Hoyson and going to Real Madrid for this amount and blah blah blah. Like I told, he did not look good. I'm telling you this. Call it a glorified friendly or not, but
Oh,
that guy was.
I watched it, but it doesn't help. Look, Real Madrid just shortly because this is not the Euro
It's a
dive,
Monday. It's a Monday talk.
but but Real Madrid, and I've foreseen this now. Of course, like it's the Club World Cup. It hasn't been like yeah, like a man. I don't know how to phrase it because it was Al Hilal, and Al Hilal is the best team of Saudi Arabia, right? Like it was like
They
full of
got they got Inzaghi.
like they no, but overall it was a really good team.
Oh, it
SMS
is.
and Ruben Neves are very effective, good physical midfield. Um, Cancelo was still running around, and who else was like it's by the way, Bono in goal, the Moroccan goalkeeper, like he was in the last World Cup like one of the greatest goalkeepers in there. Like they have good players, so it was kind of it wasn't too surprising to see them like give Real such a hard time in the match. But in the end, I foreseen that Real would not be a good defensive team. And now
No,
you throw Alexander Arnold into the match,
that was
onto
wow.
that defense
That was no
as well.
backline. That was no
Yep,
backline
and it is
whatsoever.
literally yeah, and that is what they have to work with now. Trent didn't join to sit on the bench.
No,
Was it Fran Garcia on the left side? He's possibly the best defender, like in that whole back line.
yeah, and
And by
that's
the way,
where
Huijsen, I'm not trashing him. Like I'm sure he will learn like the art of defending. Like on the ball, he's incredible. I think we all can agree on that.
he
But he
didn't.
has almost so much to learn, like
Yeah,
defensively in his positioning, and he's still like so skinny. Like he didn't develop like any muscle. Like he's still the same guy that left, man. Like he has to become a bit more physical, a bit more intelligent in his positioning. But maybe Rüdiger will help him when Rüdiger is
I'm kind of
available.
hoping for that. And then Aegon is talking about in 2 years Coppola will be sold to a big six. That's actually a valid statement, right? If he plays well at Brighton, which I can anticipate him doing, he will. I just hope that again, like for example, a smart team, an Italian team, if they know what they're doing, pick him up in January or towards the end of the year where he's having some solid performances, but not enough to outrageously raise his price. But that's the only time I would think of getting him because either because I'm anticipating he's going to pop off with Brighton. I can't see a reason it not to happen. Which is this one's also too Kwanzaa to Leverkusen for 30 million and he's twice. I think he is better than what Dean is.
He is better defensively than Huijsen, but he's nowhere close. Like it's man. Huijsen overall, I would still take over Kwanzaa in my opinion. Like
I,
Kwanzaa is incredible defensively, he has good positioning. But we don't know how much of it was covered up playing next to Virgil van Dijk when Konate like was sitting on the bench or had like his 1 or 2 games where he was off. But
I'm
yeah,
running. I'm running on the concern that I feel like Dean is another Delit in a sense, where like his offensive capabilities are super flashy, but it masks his poor positioning, poor decision making, and I think playing at Real Madrid's a totally different
dude,
scope for him.
it's you are under the radar. For example, Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Like he decided to leave Liverpool, which
Which
I
I thought was
still think.
stupid.
No, how it happened was stupid. I don't blame any player leaving for Real Madrid, but how it was, how his brother negotiated like underhanded with Real Madrid, how he rejected Liverpool offers like calculative. He rejected their offers because he knew that he has that Real Madrid contract dangled in front of him like in 2 years. And that wasn't clean how it happened. But overall, I don't blame anybody for joining Real Madrid. But if you join them, you have to come to terms with how much you are like under the microscope. Like every pass, every shot, every defensive lapse, everything will be under the microscope.
Oh, absolutely.
And he got away with stuff at Liverpool. Like it's not the world media is not. Yes, Liverpool is up there with the biggest clubs in the world, but Real Madrid is like a whole other thing. Like stuff he was able to survive in Liverpool, like the defensive lapses, not sprinting back when the ball went behind him, and Virgil and Konate cleaning everything up behind him. Like he will not have that luxury at Real Madrid,
No.
especially with Huijsen in that backline. Huijsen will be a starter. I don't know if Asensio will start game in game out, but Rüdiger will be the starter, and then you have a rotation of maybe Huijsen and Asensio. And Asensio is a very similar player to Huijsen. The, like he is great on the ball, great long ball ability, great passing skills, but defensive positioning, he causes a lot of penalties. He's holding in like he is not a great defender. And now they have two of those guys. And Rüdiger, and he has like some concentration lapses as well. So their defense will be under the microscope. Trent agreed to deal with the devil, and the devil is the Madrid media, man. Like you have to you have to now come to terms with that. And same with Huijsen. Same Asensio is a youth product of them, so he will be excused a bit by the media. But Huijsen and Trent, those will be like under the microscope, absolutely.
So there's one thing I kind of want to segue us into it is so our good friend Luca, the Udinese striker, apparently Napoli is working to finalize a deal for 30 million for him. We were linked to him originally, or there was some thought of us going after him, but what do you think? You think 30 million makes sense for him, or do you think
Yeah,
that's a little bit too high?
no, 25 to 30 is exactly what I would have paid.
Which is interesting because, again, I know Primo's not listening today, but Primo would have thrown his hands in uproar saying, "See, told you they're getting Italians." But I think again
No,
that's
they
a
do, and Napoli, I believe, will get Comuzzo as well from
yes.
Fiorentina, another Italian 19-year-old center back. Like, mm, yeah, I look, the players are there. You just have to find them. You just have to find the players. Like, of course, the Buongiornos are expensive. Bastoni is expensive. Like, these are now, of course, the best of the best. Like, Calafiori went for a lot of money. Scalvini, nobody knows because what he will be after the injury. But Scalvini was also one of the center backs with the most hype, right? Like Pirola, for example, went from was it Salernitana to Olympiacos? Like that is something you could have tried. And then there's like Komutsu who will go to Napoli, Coppola who will go to Brighton. Like there are a couple of those. You just have to find them.
I don't,
So
and again, I don't think, like, for example, I don't think Luca is something that you throw your hands up in the air and it's like, oh well, he would have been make or break or yada yada yada. But I think again, possibly could have been a good solid depth piece. Again, if you loan Colo and then you purchase him, then again it's 25, 30 million. If he gets 20 goal contributions, you could sell him if Colo you want to keep Colo as your guy. And I could envision, like, for example, and he'd be playing next to Lukaku or alternating with Lukaku over there with Kevin De Bruyne playing on that team. So I think he's going to look a lot better than what he is. But I mean, 25 to 30 million. I still think again, I can't believe it. It's good business by Napoli. I'm not going to lie. For how the market is, I think that's outstanding business for them.
yeah, now Napoli is doing great business. And yeah, by the way, Germany will play Italy on Sunday, the under 21s and the is it quarterfinals? Yeah, it is quarterfinals, Germany versus Italy on Sunday. That will be a fun match.
Yeah, because and this is where again, obviously, I'm hoping that Kamoli figures out the sporting director situation because, like for example, now on Monday, Napoli will then go to Bologna to negotiate for Ndoye and Bukima deals
Oh,
both.
Bukima, that one as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it's like Napoli is not hesitant to do stuff, and then
yeah.
uh, your good friend Alvaro might go to Como and join Fabregas there.
Why wouldn't he?
I know, right? Perfect way to retire.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we were linked to besides Gyökeres, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Again, that
Oh, we
was
we don't have any serious links right now.
yeah.
Like couple of weeks, we had Diego Moreira from Strasbourg. That would have been something interesting. I would have liked that one, but I hope Primo doesn't slap me because he Moreira's Portuguese, not Italian. But that would be a great option. I believe 21 years old wingback was initially a winger, and then at Strasbourg was slowly like transformed into a bit more defensive role. Yeah, I saw that, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Like Sociedad, cause was he at Real Sociedad? I believe so. He was on loan to Sociedad, if I remember correctly, and they conceded like a lot of goals, man.
A
So
lot.
I don't know, but yeah, there aren't any credible other offers. There was another Strasbourg player. I forgot where he was from, but yeah.
You know what's interesting as I'm kind of scrolling through too. Wolves apparently wanted to submit a 25 million euro bid for Cambiaso.
25. Thanks for
Yeah,
asking.
that to me is a little bit too intense there. 25 for that is nuts. Man. All right. So apparently Juve are looking at the next Yildiz and tackling Monaco talent Ben Seguia as
He is great. That is something Ben Seguir, yeah, there's 10 toes saying it. Ben Seguir is incredible. Like that is actually like a young player that I would be excited like to try. He's so creative. He's great at scoring, great at passing. In ball possession, he's great. He's in the top percentile in ball possession with how he treats the ball, and he can play literally like everything in that front line. Like he's more so left half space winger, like a Wirtz-ish type. No, a bit more. Sorry, no, that's the wrong comparison. Who is a player that likes the left half space, like that left offensive midfield
see,
area?
but and then same thing with Mikey Moore, right? So Mikey Moore is a Tottenham youngster, 17 years old, which apparently his market value is 20 million. But should we not be looking for like we already have one of the youngest teams in the league? Like, should we be looking for more seasoned slash experienced players to put on this roster? I mean, granted, like for example, both of those players are offensive players. They're both wingers slash forwards, where it's
Yeah.
like we don't have any defensive whatsoever. Because, like
No,
for example, unless you've already committed to goof door style, where it's just like, well, fuck it, if we concede 4, we have to score 5, right? If that's where they've
yeah.
kind of made their bed with, all right, I'm not a fan of it, but okay, sure, no problem. Because, like for example, I look at it again, winger wise, like you have enough wingers. You have Conceição, you have Weah, you have Nico Gonzalez, you have Yildiz. That's 4.
Depending on who stays, right? Like for example, if we have
And throw in Mbangula as the 5th, but I don't think Tudor wants
yeah.
to keep him.
No, Mbangula will be one you can sell for pure profit. That's what I think will happen, unfortunately. Because I like him, but yeah, like we need to invest in other positions. Look, where I would like to have the experience is in my center backs. Like, get me an experienced center back next to Bremer, a starting caliber center back. That's what I want first. like mid-20s, something like that, mid to late 20s.
There you go. Here's your guy.
No, man, dude, what? Oh, God damn, man. Go, get the hell out of here, man.
uh, I don't think. I don't think
What what
Viega.
what has Araujo shown you at Barcelona that he is a great defender? What has anyone out of defenders besides Jules Koundé showed you that he's a great defender?
At least he's a center back, an actual center back.
He would be a leader on the pitch, at least that. He
Yeah,
can
that's what I'm saying. At least he has experience right
he
now.
can he can scream at people, but still like positioning and everything is not in great like he's not great in positioning. But yeah, I f dude, if we get him, I don't mind it next to Bremer. It may work, right? Because Bremer can cover some stuff up. But again, I don't know how Tudor will play. Most likely a three-man backline. On the right side, he may work Bremer centrally, and then left side, who will it be? Gotti, Lloyd Kelly
I
rotation.
don't. I don't think you would get Viega anymore.
No, Vega's over. Not for what Chelsea wants.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting Viega here. And then there's another person I forgot to count. Coop.
No,
He
you're
counts.
right. In a three-man backline, he could work, but if we play anything close to a four-man backline with only two center backs, Araujo, sorry, wouldn't work centrally.
Coop would be a player behind the 9 too. So again, that's 6
No.
players. Well, I'm saying
Yeah,
with how he plays,
yeah.
because
No,
it's a
but what I wanted to
3-4-2-1.
say with the wingers, look, if we depending on if we pull the Conceição option, or sorry, we don't have an option if we actually deal with Porto to get him like something between 20 and 30 million. If not, then I think we need a winger, right? Because on the right side we have Nico Gonzalez and possibly Weah, but Weah, God knows why, never played, like never got any playing time. And on the left you have Yildiz and whatever's left of Mbangula's Juve career. So there, there, so there would be space for a left wing, and I think Ben Seguir is that would be a profile I'm actually, like, excited, with. Why not? Why not try something like that? His market value is 18 million, but he had, like, good showings in the Champions League, so he will be, I guess, something close to 30, 35 as well. So if that's a possibility, why not? But you have to take care of your, defense first, in my opinion. So get that sorted first. And somebody in the chat said Thomas Partey. Usually I would have said yes, but midfielders, like, we need players to get out. Like, we
Midfield's
need to
full.
sort that first. Partey, if you told me that a year ago, and his contract was up a year ago, I believe, and he extended for another season, and now he wants a 2-year extension. Arsenal is willing to give him only one. So usually, yes, he's a very good player. He has become like, yeah, he has become like low key, very good on the ball midfielder as well. Like, next to Declan Rice, he had some offensive build-up responsibility as well. When Arsenal used him as a right back, when Timber was injured, he played really good there as well. Like, Partey has become a very, like, multifaceted player, so I wouldn't mind him, but we have, like, so much more to do. And 28 for Lukumi is still too much in my opinion. I'm sorry, but that's, I don't know, 20? 28 is not outrageous, but
Yeah,
that's still too expensive.
26 years old, a center back.
Yeah. I don't
I mean,
it's
his value is 22.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't like, for
No,
example,
that wouldn't be outrageous, but yeah, I think no, my thing is there are still, like, even better options than Lukumi for Samish. Yeah, but I think Lukumi is better than Kivio.
yeah, because I think, I mean,
Yeah,
I could see it, right? Like, for example,
but we
uh,
don't do good deals, Dash.
no, we don't do good deals. What am I thinking, right? We don't do good deals.
Yeah,
We still, and the question is, do we even keep Cabal when he comes back? It was funny. I had someone in the comments
And
tell me that Cabal was
there's a market for him, though, right?
like, because the reason is we have so many fullbacks.
I know we have.
So it's like, what do you do with Cabal? I had some guy on the comments try to tell me that, oh man, because Cabal got injured, her entire season got derailed. I'm like, the dude barely played like 2 games. Like, and he's that big of a loss.
When he played, he was good, though. Like,
Yeah,
it's a shame that he got injured.
he got injured, but then like Mata banished him into the ether for no freaking reason.
Yeah.
I don't. They need center backs. Like at this point, anything, because if you're running a 3-4 or a back three of anything, if that back line of Savona, Kalu, and them, I'm like, I am not liking her chances this season. Rui and Kostic are both on the team. I don't know why they weren't used at all. I think Rui's technically is next gen.
Yeah. You know what I'm excited for? Now that Comoli is or worked so long in the French league, I hope that he get us like a
Brings
couple of
in
goals.
cheap French players.
Exactly. That would be nice because I don't know why, but French teams do great scouting, man. Like it's always like talented players. They go for a low fee between like 10, 15, maximum 20 million, and then all of a sudden explode and can sell them for even more. And if they work out, they work out, right? So I'm hoping that we go into that market a bit because that is sustainable. It is financially responsible. You get good talent from France. So yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And also, for example, like Balerdi from Marseille. I know he was a rumor like a week ago or something, and then we didn't hear like anything about him. That's a player I would like. Like he is very good defensively. Maple Dave would lose his mind because it would be another Argentinian. But yeah, that would be a player. Like
He's
Balerdi
pushed.
would be good. And yeah, Lucas Beraldo from PSG, that's a good young Brazilian defender that would make Jeff angry because he doesn't like Brazilian players, or was it just Brazilian midfielders?
No, it's just Brazilian
Oh,
midfielders.
oh, midfielders. So defender is good enough. Next to Bremer, man. Brazil next to Bremer. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. France has a lot of talents, man. So I am excited if we go to that market. Yeah. Oh, and what I had up earlier, I know we already went completely away from the match versus Al Ain, but I wanted to show you something because I had it up, so I'll show that for a second. Here is the map from where we created, right? Like where we had the most passes and where we tried to progress the ball the most. And it was ironically these also the pitches divide into 9 areas. You have right side, centrally, and left side, and then of course like the own third, middle third, final third. And yeah, it's almost like dumping the ball to your wing backs slash wingers and then have them dribble to there and try to break it down that way. Because like centrally is where we have the ball at least. So that's still something I don't like to that we like completely omit that space on the pitch. So
Yeah,
that is
we
something I would like ideally to change. But on the other hand, what was good, because you see here on the stats 33 touches in the opposition box. That is good, but again, it was versus Al. And like where it was least, we had the ball the least in our own third. So that's at least something. Like we played like decently progressive, but yeah, consider the opponent it was against. But yeah, it's the usual dump the ball to the wing backs and have them carry the ball forward and then
It's
one v
simple.
one.
It's simple. It's simple to do, but also very easy to read and telegraph.
Oh yeah. That's why we didn't like create anything under Motta because he tried like that model for the whole for the whole season until he got fired.
Yeah. So again, that's why I'm Tudor's biggest critic. I'm sorry. That's why I'm gonna say it again. People can get mad at me. I don't give a shit. But that's why I'm his biggest critic, because it's a simple style of play, but you don't have a plan B if that doesn't work. There's no mix up. There's no change up in play. You are going to get found out. If that is all you are doing, especially in Serie A, you will get found out. And that is my biggest question mark for him is, are you able to adjust? Because with all due respect, 12-year career, he has not had the longevity to demonstrate that in jobs that he's had, that he's able to adjust or pivot. So again, cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't even say that I'm optimistic at this point, but I'm a little bit concerned, but not as concerning or as cringeworthy as what Juve did yesterday by visiting the White House. I thought that was hands down one of the stupidest things they could have ever done. And
I
I'm not even saying
agree.
this whether or not you like Trump or you hate Trump. Um, it just felt like it was forced. Like it felt like Juve
It
and
was forced.
Elkin, like Elkin forced that to happen. And it was funny because Trump called Elkin Johnny. Johnny's done a great job with the car manufacturer and blah blah blah. Even though I know he called Gianni, because he emphasized it, Gianni for Infantino, and then he called Elkin like Johnny. So it's like, I don't know. For me, it was just like Elkin forced that to happen because I'm sure Elkin and Trump are buddies. That kind of tells me how tone deaf John Elkin is right now, because like you literally had Trump give an announcement for the Iran-Israel situation with McKenny Weah. Why the fuck is Vlahovic even there?
What the fuck was the team wearing?
They're wearing a t-shirt with Juventus. And then it's like you have them there, and he's talking about like policy and other things with like Comoli sitting there, Elkin being there, the Club World Cup trophy being there. Like I don't think Juve should have been there.
No.
Like honestly, I don't think that they should have. But this is where I find it it's just Juve's marketing or strategy of marketing or whatever just to me seems like they have
I
no
d
idea what they're doing.
I don't think that's marketing. That's not the marketing people
You think
that
that was
made
just
that
Elkin
happen.
saying, "Fuck it, you're gonna go
That
meet my buddy"?
that is something like that is coming from the top. Trust me, the White House is not emailing the Juventus marketing department and inviting them.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, it
Try,
could
I know how that stuff works. Like that was directly demanded or a direct invitation to the leadership of the club by the White House.
you think the White House emailed Juve saying, "Hey, come here,"
No, Elkan.
or the other way around?
No, the White House or Trump or whoever the connection is between, but it was forced by Elkan, depending on who is his connection to the White
I
House.
to be honest with you, I think because Elkin and Trump are billionaires and they're buddies, because Elkin Exor does have
It has to be that because
eh,
that's why I say I don't think that a White House correspondent wrote an email to
no,
the Juventus marketing people.
absolutely, I don't think so. I think Elkin, because Elkin did have, like, real estate at like, Exor does real estate, and I'm sure that they've gotten something there, right?
Yeah,
Where again, and I think there is, like, some political thing between Elkin and Trump because Elkin does have FCA, right? And he's in charge of that, and Legend is kinda egging us on here with that theory. Because to me, it just nothing seemed so out of place, because usually, again, in whenever sports teams go to the White House, it's after they've won the national championship, right? And if you're using a club, with all due respect, people, but if you're using a club to send to the White House, it would have been Real Madrid or PSG. That would have been the top 2 clubs I would be sitting there thinking, right? So that's where it's just like, I don't know.
PSG may be a political thing.
So well, I mean,
I'm
political,
sorry.
they're UEFA and FIFA's best friend right now,
No,
the Qatar.
I know they're the UA, but not America's.
I mean, it's great that Juve get a shout out, but at the same time, I just felt like it was just corny
No,
and
it's just absolutely political. Trump or whoever in the White House decided that because trust me, Trump doesn't watch Juventus matches.
no, he does. He could barely
So
say Juventus of
yeah,
Italy.
so somewhere in the White House said, okay, Mr. Trump, who do you have in the footballing space, like as
No,
a
I disagree
friend
with
that you
that.
know?
I think
Yeah,
again, I think it's again, hey, he wants something from Elkin and Exor, and I think that's kind of what it was.
yeah, can be that.
Because it's a and I'm not gonna steal it's a Legends comment here, where like I could see Trump saying like he brings in Elkin and says, "Hey, look, I want you to start bringing some shit from FCA to be produced in the United States." Because that's one of the things I can sit there and think is like again, he's looking at it from that perspective, right? So who knows?
Yeah,
Here,
from that jet he received, he may like them, but politically,
uh,
yeah, let's not go into that.
yeah, Dusan was holding it all laughter when Trump asked if a girl could play on the team, and that was his best moment of it as a Juve player, which is true. But I'm pretty sure the girl would probably perform better than Dusan, which I thought was such a stupid question. He looks at McKenny, he's like, "So do you think a woman could play for Juventus?" And then Kamoli's like, "Well, we have a really good women's team." Oh, I know. That's great. That's great. Oh, Trump. The guy is pure comedic gold. All right. Shrevin says, Dash, a lot of teams don't have plan B, but they have top teams. They have top teams, top players, unlike us. So the only way you can be successful is one plan is if you have a top team to bail you out. Individual talent. Yes, I agree with you there. However, a lot
A
of
great
managers
team doesn't need a plan B.
a great team does not need a plan B because they're able to force their will on you. But like for example, the one thing what I mean by that is like for example, tactical fuck, I can't even say the word. Flexibility. Because like for example, Conte, right? 3-5-2. That has always been his bread and butter. Now he's variated to a 3-4-3, and now he is running a 4-3-3 at Napoli. Conte has been adapting and adjusting, which I
I
think
agree.
again
Has so
and that season and this next season, I think he's going to do very well with Napoli. Max Allegri, 3-5-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. What was the other one? 4-1-2-1-2. Max has had 5 to 6 different tactical variations of how he's played. Mota only runs a 4-2-3-1, and Tudor runs a 3-4-2-1. So the difference between Mota and Tudor is they don't have that ability to adjust yet. And I think Xabi Alonso is going to learn that the hard way at Real Madrid because Carlo Ancelotti, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. And I remember at his Milan days, the 4-1-2-1, 2, where he ran the diamond midfield at Milan. Great coaches always have different variations on the lineup because that is how you keep teams guessing, and that's how you always could scramble a team. Like for example, Allegri's pinnacle in the 16-17 season, he started off with a 3-5-2, pivoted mid-season. He pivoted the entire lineup and formation to a 4-2-3-1. We went to the Champions League final that year because he realized, okay, let me adjust this. Let me tinker in this regard. Or we were running a 3-5-2 because he had Bonucci, Barzagli, and Chiellini, right? The balls that he had to have to switch that back three to a 4-2-3-1 to run Alexandro, Chiellini, Bonucci, and Dani Alves and bench Barzagli. Sometimes he would mix in Barzagli in the back three as a right back. But the fact that Allegri did that mid-season caught a lot of teams off guard, and we went on that run in the Champions League. We only conceded 2 goals up until the final. So I disagree with that, where elite managers or managers that know what they're doing can always have variations of the way that they play. As an American, I apologize to Juventus Worldwide for our president. That was the comment I read earlier. Tom says it was forced by FIFA and Infantino. They knew Juve were in town and had 2 Americans to highlight, which they did. And those
they
2
make a
Americans,
connection as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also true. He's like, it was funny. He's like, he's looking at Dusan. Where are my beautiful Americans? And he looks at Dusan first, and I'm like, how the fuck does he look like he's an American? He's like the most Russian-looking dude in the entire freaking panel. With all due respect to certain
Dash,
people,
dash, dash. You know, he tried to look for white Americans.
there's a dude with an
I,
afro
I'm,
to
s-
his right
I'm
shoulder.
sorry. I'm sorry, Dash, but you know what it is. I'm sorry, but it's a color thing.
It was hilarious. Oh my
Uh,
goodness. And you know, it's funny because McKenny's dad
Such a
like hates
dumbass man.
McKenny's dad hates Trump too. So the fact that like I wish I could have seen Airborne 69's Twitter. Oh
Yeah.
man, that would have been hilarious. Love the meeting with Trump. I'm a pro 51st state wannabe American though. Fair enough. Qatar gifted Trump the plane. FCA is now called Stellantis. You know, it's funny because their trucks, like their delivery trucks, and like for example, so in the area that I work, even though it's called Stellantis, like and on the documentation and paperwork, it's still FCA, ironically. So I call it that because that's what I see it on the documentations and stuff like that for what I do for work, my actual job. Anthony says if we get some serious center backs, we can be a tough team. The big
Stay
question
on
is
that comment for a second.
this one right here.
Pause. Yeah, pause. I have something here. Look, let's take Rugani out because I know, I don't know, it looks like we want to get rid of him, right? Let me delete the ball. Look, right now we have Gatti, we have Costa, we have Cambiaso. There's Lloyd Kelly, and there's Kalulu. Sorry, let me take Bangula off. This is how we are playing right now, right? So, you want a competent center back? Let's just use Rugani's X there, or I don't know, this way. Or, yeah, sorry, Bremer
No,
Sargent,
you
let's say.
put
Hold up,
well
let's say
here.
Bremer starts.
Yeah, you would have to put Rugani as a left center back over Gatti because
Yeah,
Gatti
and
would be the
then,
right center back. There you go.
so this would be it. This would be that rotation. That would be that rotation. He would be there or there, I don't know, depending on what he's doing. And then hold up. Right now it is Kostic. Yeah, let's say just for the sake of it, that is it, right? So this is the rotation we have right now. So if we get a competent center back here, right?
Hmm.
Let's say that is Rugani or hold up, I don't know, fantasy name, Ruben Dias. Okay, so then this would be your back line. And Tudor likes to play with a three-man backline. I don't think we will see a four-man backline under Tudor, right? Or do you think he's that flexible if we get a competent center back that we all of a sudden
He would
send
never
the
play a four-man back line.
because this would be a set like this would be something that you can try. But in that case, you need a proper creator because Code Miners is I'm sorry, is not that. And if you have this situation here again with this backline, then you still don't have enough here, but you also don't have enough firepower from here because if you don't have proper ball playing creating midfield, you need that to get you need to get that out of your wingbacks in this formation because they run up and down. They have to pass and connect the play to these guys here, to Bangula who will play there or Yildiz who will play there. And same on that side. You can't afford because we have two wingbacks here. Or sorry, Sabona's not even playing as a wingback. In my opinion, he's just a fullback or right-sided center back in a three-man backline. They don't bomb forward. They all of a sudden stop here. And then you have only Conceição and Nico Gonzalez here to cook. And on that side, you have Cambiaso that is doing that run to that half space, or Kostic to the touchline and crossing it in, or crossing it in from there as well. Like Cambiaso and Kostic, go to very similar spots on the pitch, but one of them curls like just with the left foot, and Cambiaso can do like
Hmm.
basically everything from there. But So you still need either a creator if you play with a four-man backline and get the proper center back, or you have to get proper attacking wing backs with speed. Look, I'm willing to go into the season with this here on the left side, right? Like Kostic makeshift sub, Cambiaso starter. But then on the right side, I'm sorry, but this is not good enough for me. We will not create anything from this.
No.
Because if you have Locatelli and Thuram here as the starters, and they are, you will not get enough from the midfield. And even if you play McKennie, even if Douglas Luiz stays, or I don't know what Koopmeiners is doing, because he doesn't fit anything. I swear I have no idea what to do with Koopmeiners, right? Every time I throw up the tactical board, I don't know
Trade
what
him
he's
for
doing.
Dybala.
Okay,
No comment. He's moving.
hold up. No, what number
21.
did Dybala
21.
here for you guys? And then this would be something now. Hold up, hold up. Now we have something. Throw these away. Oh, sorry. Too many men on the field. This would be exciting to watch. Yeah. But you see, if you don't have any like the only creator we have is Cambiaso and Yildiz. So it's all left side basically. And if that doesn't work, we have no idea of football. So yeah, what are we doing? Even if we get the center back, we have so much to do. I agree, center back is, in my opinion, most important. But even then, what are we
You
doing
need
with our
one.
midfield? We have no creative midfielders.
You do.
And
He's just
if
lazy.
we don't have who? Sorry?
You do. He's just lazy. Like
Luis?
you'd have to, yeah, you'd have to get him
Yeah.
into. You'd have to somehow get him to buy in.
Yeah, you have to, but
Because, like, I'm telling you, he compared to everybody else on
I
their roster,
Anthony, look, we love him. We love Thuram.
he's not a
But
playmaker.
the only creativity he has is bombing forward and bulldozing forward with the ball. That's it. And that's in my opinion not creativity because the second you play versus a stacked midfield that is closing up that here that is closing up like this area here. Oh, sorry. Then he's not able to do his runs because like that space will be closed and he doesn't drift a lot. Like he's always like bombing forward here on that like left half space side ish. That is what he's doing. And yeah, to unlock this team, you either need proper wingbacks because that is what Tudor needs, but it depends, man. It depends on what you want to buy. Yeah, it's hard to say honestly.
Do we talk about Dybala a little bit? Because that was some big news that was going on earlier in the week.
Honestly, I don't consider it big news because I don't believe it,
Okay.
but I wish.
My thought is this, right? Would he even be a Tudor guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
he would be a football guy, but not a Tudor guy.
yeah. I wouldn't even. I couldn't even see that happening, even though like his release clause is 12. Like I don't see him lasting in a Tudor system.
He doesn't fit the system. He would
No.
be an overall like good football player that would still improve the
Oh, he would improve the quality of the team, but and then again, you look at remember what we just listed:
yeah.
Yildiz, Conceição, Nico Gonzalez, Timothy Weah, Coop Myers, and then Dybala.
Yeah.
Because that the two positions that are playing behind Colo, that would be it, unless you were to play Dybala as your false nine. Hell, if you were to send Dusan off and Dybala as his replacement, fuck it, I'd be okay with that. Colo's
Yeah,
the starter and Dybala's the backup?
but then you would still have to go to the market because I'm not going with only Koulibaly as a proper 9 and then Dybala as a false 9 to the season.
It's more
Who is
productive
all
more productive than Dusan.
No, I know that. I'm just saying we still then need a number 3 striker in that sense. That is
Yeah,
it.
then again, you can get a youngster that you can just build up
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
next couple of
yeah,
years. I think that they need to do that
yeah.
badly.
Look, for my idea of football and for what this team is capable of, I would absolutely get him, but he's absolutely not a player that would thrive under Tudor.
No, I
That's
don't
the
think you
thing.
would because
Like
Tudor expects
like
them
a
to
two
press.
like Tudor's coaching style is playing with 2 eights. One of them exactly the profile that Thuram has, except for at Lazio. Was it Lazio?
Yes.
With Guendouzi. Like, I believe he had Guendouzi at Lazio and at Marseille. He had him at both teams, I believe.
Yes.
And Guendouzi is a Thuram-ish player, of course, a bit less, uh, not as big, not as strong, but also like carrying the ball forward a lot. So, yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I would love to have Dybala on the team because I think it would improve the team, but you need a different coach with a different lineup.
He would have
Dybala
he would have
only
made
works
sense
when
under
you
Muto.
actually, yeah. No, Dybala only works when you actually play a system where you have where you need a cap
Allegri at Milan. God,
or
that'd be so
second
funny.
striker or second striker.
That would be funny if Allegri takes him at Milan. Sobozai, yeah, good luck getting Sobozai. I don't even think that
No,
happens. Not even remotely possible.
I love Szoboszlai, but no, Liverpool paid 70 or 75 release clause like 2 years ago. They would not sell him to us for cheap.
I don't like Taylor Hernandez because his attitude problems with his
Dude,
attacking ability on the
but
left.
Szoboszlai would absolutely be like a two-door player. That dude runs like all game.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't see us financially getting him. Uh, here's the thing with Taylor Hernandez. That move would not make the Dusan Hernandez swap. Are you going to sell Cabal? Are you going to sell Cambiaso? Or are you going to move Cambiaso to the right? Are you going to bench Costa so Cambiaso moves to the right so you have Taylor Hernandez on the left? The logistics of that move, the only way that you would see Taylor Hernandez come in is if Andrea Cambiaso goes out. That's the only way that move particularly happens.
Depends on
Spe-
how much money you want to spend on the position.
Speaking of moves, why have we still not found a sporting director? That to me is a little bit concerning because you might have a little bit extra time because of the Club World Cup, but the fact that you still don't have one bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're effectively counting on Chiellini and Comoli both to do your summer transfer market.
I don't mind Komoli doing it because
He's got experience doing it,
he
but
has the experience, but I would ideally like somebody that is there with him because it's shared responsibility works in the football business better than having just one singular, like
yeah.
mighty guy. Gently.
Why can't Costa go on the bench? Teo on the left, Cambias on the right. Costa's not guaranteed to even make the team next year as of now. Because the problem is you can't have two wingbacks or fullbacks that don't defend. That means you isolate your back three, and your back three will get shredded, where Alberto Costa can track up and down the pitch. Taylor Hernandez and Cambiaso have little to no defensive capabilities or effort. You could see it last night. Cambiaso was getting beat on one-on-ones.
And by the way, for that, again, we're in the situation where then Kalulu, Gotti, and Lloyd Kelly aren't good enough next to Bremer. Then you need to invest into two center backs because all of them have to hold the defensive line if both your fullbacks go forward that much. Oh, sorry, I was showing it, but I don't have it on screen. So if your wingbacks are pushing up like all game long, then you need a security blanket, and that's then the backs because you want ideally two or three people around the center line, if like just for security, if you lose the ball, so that you have a defensive line there ready to act. And yeah, if you have Theo Hernandez, who is doing like nothing, like for 2 years now defensively, I believe, and Cambiaso, who is running back at least, but doesn't boss people off the ball. Like then you need like, or I don't know if you can get away with getting like one proper center back and then I don't know, makeshift center back like with Gatti and Rugani or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
look, the
you
whole
you need
back, the
one
whole
or two like proper starting caliber center
the
backs.
the whole defensive line is a liability. The only difference is at least you can have some track back capability with Costa, where it's if you have Teo and Cambiaso both on the field. I know for a fact that Teo's not going to track back. That's one of the biggest complaints that Milan have about him is him not being able to do that. Offensively, it looks again, if the team's philosophy is like Hansi Flick at Barcelona, they score 4, we score 5, whatever. Right? That makes sense. Get Teo Hernandez, run him next to Cambiaso, and hope you score 5 if you concede 4. I totally get it. That's not Tudor's style, but if that's the direction they want to go, I'm perfectly fine with it. It's just, again, you're going to leave your back three to get shredded badly and a very high line. And especially if your back three is Savona, Kalulu, and Kelly, that is a very bad back three. And you're going to have to be scoring a lot of 4 to 5 goal games, which is great because you probably will be selling players at inflated prices, which works for us. 4D chess move there. But I don't know. It doesn't make sense. You already have enough fullbacks on the roster. And I think, again, Teo Hernandez has got how many years left at a high level?
2 or 3.
2 or 3. So, like, for example, if I was on the cusp of,
2. So 2 at the most, because if you think like hold up. How old is he by now? Isn't he
28,
like 28, 29? He should have 3 years, but you don't know, like with the longer they play, the less defensive responsibility they take, and he has none right now, so it will get even worse. So that would be what I'm most scared of with him. 27 years. Yeah, I give him 3 years, like I said. Yeah. I'll go to 3. 3.
where I think, again, with Alberto Costa and even Cabal, you would have higher resale value and they have a longer shelf life right now. So I think, again, like, for example, yes, the only time I would really consider that Taylor Hernandez swap is if we were a piece away. Like, for example, remember the season 15-16 where we needed, Evra was on the way out and we needed a fullback or a right fullback, and we got Dani Alves, where like you purchased Dani Alves for a season or two just to kind of get you over the cusp. Right. So it's like I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective, where that's when I would look at Teo Hernandez is like, we've got everything set. We can afford to get a luxury piece. And to me, Teo Hernandez is a luxury piece. Same thing like Gyökeres, luxury piece, not something you build your team around. Gatti and Kelly need to play less than 20 games in a serious team. Good luck with that. Both of them are going to be playing more unless one of them gets sold.
It should be the case.
Should be, but it's not going to be. So Hernandez does turn 28 in October. Okay. I'm surprised we haven't heard Tudor scream for a center back. If anyone knows CB play, it's Tudor. He should be able to evaluate our crappy CBs. He has been asking for a center back. He wants a center back, a striker, and a winger. Those are the three positions.
All our coaches, all the past coaches asked for center backs and never got them.
So, and also to kind of add to this, if you've looked at Tudor's track record, Tudor's teams, he never really created elite center backs. So, like, even though he was a center back and knows the play, he's never really churned out decent center backs.
And don't forget, even Thiago Motta screamed for a center back because we were injury riddled defensively, and what Juntili gave him was Lloyd Kelly. So, yeah.
Yeah, because
No,
Stevie
no,
Wonder.
no, 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 no. It's worse. He saw that we need a center back,
He just
got a
couldn't get
center
one.
back, but he got the wrong one.
Right back? No, center back. Right back. I'll get you a right back. He bought us a shit ton of fullbacks. He just didn't get us center backs.
Yeah.
No, do you guys have the Nintendo too? You mean the Switch too? I've got
Switch
one.
to?
I've got one.
Oh, you got yours? My
Uh,
my my brother and cousin and a friend and all of them got them. I I'm not that interested. Like I can wait a bit.
I got it in launch, so I do have that. So there's one story that's not Juventus related that I kind of want to close the show out, but I also want to touch briefly on Osimhen because apparently Moji is saying that Osimhen will not join. You know, I kind of want to give credit to Osimhen here because like Osimhen was like, all right, I'll just go to Turkey. I'll bomb out in Turkey and then, you know, raise my value and people wanting me. Where it's like Dusan's like, I don't want to go to Turkey.
Look, I don't even compare Dujan to Osimhen. There's a striker hierarchy of where all the Premier League clubs want the players from that pool. It is Osimhen, it is Gyökeres, it is Seško from Leipzig, and it is Ekitike from Frankfurt. Frankfurt, sorry, I say German since I'm German. Who else is there? Did I forget? Did I forget anyone? Like that is the pool of the elite, or at least strikers with potential. And then there's the pool of the bit cheaper guys. That is the I don't know who. Sorry. Let me get this striker thing up quickly because it's almost 3 a.m. and I can't remember names right now. So, oh, and Julian Alvarez is up there in that as well. Osimhen, I said. Sesko, I said. Alexander Isak is up there with those. And then you have the younger ones with potential, right? Boniface still up there. Openda from Leipzig is up there. Samu Morodion, by the way, at Porto, very good young player with potential that moved from Atletico to Porto because he didn't see playing time. Yeah. Mathys Tel, who moved to Tottenham. And then you have the next one where there's not enough or not a lot of interest. That's the Dusan Vlahovic, the Gonzalo Ramos, the Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, the who am I forgetting from that? There was a play. Oh, Darwin Nunez, of course. And then Jonathan David, who is on a free. By the way, he's not signed up yet. Yeah, and those are the tiers right now of strikers. Like there are 2 or 3 tiers, and Vlahovic is on the bottom tier. So yeah, Oh yeah, Anthony Colomuani is on that same one where with the Vlahovic and Darwin Nunez guys. So we have to see, man. Like he's not popular, and there are many other strikers that are also cheaper and don't want as much or as big of a salary as well. So
I
I
know
I
Bones.
honestly don't think that we'll be able to get rid of him. That's why I say like
Well, yeah, it doesn't help that he.
cut the losses and lower the wages, man.
Well, I think you just cut the losses and you drop them whatsoever. You're not going to cut anything really
Yeah.
besides 2 or 3 million. You might as well just get rid of it anyways. You're going to lose them anyways. Because, like, look, dude, he couldn't beat Al-In defenders. Like, he tried dribbling them and couldn't beat them. It looked like prime Italy 2006. Like, he made them look like some of the most elites. Like, if you just tuned in the game when Dusan was playing against them, you'd look at it and be like, how the fuck did they score 5 on these guys? Like, that's how bad Dusan was. But I digress. I don't want to sit there and punk on Dusan. The poor guy's just been punked on enough. He already had to sit next to Trump. Can you explain what key cards are? And like, isn't it the same as buying the game digital? No. So like, I think because I got Mario Kart World. So like, it gave me a card and then it has like a code on the back of it. So like, you take the code and then you go into the Nintendo eShop and you type in the code and it gives you a free download, or it gives you the download for whatever you're trying to download. Because if you got the Switch 2 bundle with Mario World, it has like a key card in the box itself with the game. You scratch the back of it, you take that code and you punch it in the eShop where it says enter code, and then it should give you what you're looking for. It should be the same as buying it digital. Like if you buy the card version of the game, that's essentially you're buying a digital license. You're just not doing it on the eShop, you're doing it physically. Hopefully that answers your question there too. Anyways, last thing of news because we're getting close to the end here.
Just before you go in on that,
Fuck.
because who was it that said Singo earlier? Oh, Anthony as well. Singo, I would love him, but we should have bought him from Torino and not from Monaco, where he now has become a vice captain. I believe they turned him into a center back, and
Yeah, he's
yeah,
playing really well there.
yeah, and he's very happy there. He's playing Champions League regularly with them.
And he
So
has Pogba on his team now.
yeah, all
But
positive.
yeah, I don't, and Torino wouldn't have sold him to us
So,
anyways. But
oh, sorry that I blue balled you. Go off, my guy.
you bastard. Anyways, this is our good friend Yamal. I thought this was hilarious. So Yamal was vacationing with a influencer flight attendant. She was like 30 years old. So apparently people were calling her a predator or a groomer,
Oh my god.
which is hilarious. So she kind of
Yeah.
hits up on this. So she says, I'm getting slammed. It feels unfair. And first of all, I'm 29. I haven't even turned 30 yet. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't hurt anybody. This is affecting my family deeply, and I don't want this to escalate any further. We're talking about, okay, that's extra, right? Like death threats or being called a pedophile or a predator. And it's like, this is where I found this comment comical. When it's an older man, no one says a word. Dude, if a 30-year-old dude was talking to a 17-year-old girl, he would have been stoned instantly. Stop it. Oh
Depends
my,
on who it is. Leonardo DiCaprio is in his 50s and he's talking to 20-year-olds,
like, stop it.
and he does get stoned.
I spent a few days with Yamal, which was exactly shown in the photos, and that's it. Yeah, because the photos show everything. Not going to say anything more. Look, I'm not I'm not the greatest Lionel Messi fan. I don't like him. I'm not a big fan of him at all, honestly. But the one thing that I could respect from him is there was no off-field drama. Like there wasn't. And like anything with him was on the pitch because of like his own politics and his own bullshit. But when it came to shit like this, like Messi was squeaky, like super squeaky clean. For me, honestly, this might be a hot take, but I don't think Yamal is going to have a long career at the top.
I don't know.
I think,
I'm not willing to bet on the kid yet because I want him to succeed. We haven't seen a talent like somebody at that age being that talented like and maybe ever. So I hope it turns out well. Dude, I blame Neymar for this because he's vacationing with Neymar in Brazil, I
yeah.
believe.
Well,
So
and again,
I blame him.
but again, that kind of goes to show where Yamal's like head is at, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his
But
dad is
dude,
dating.
but Ro
Like Yamal's dad is
but
like 39 and
yeah,
dating 22-year-olds
yeah. Dude, but Ronaldo was dating like a different girl like
every other week.
every other week, yeah, almost. And yeah, he
Yeah, but
almost like had like something with every available Victoria's Secret model at that time. And yeah,
you got to
let, let,
remember.
let, if this
So
continues to be a pattern, then it
I
can
think
be
it has
dangerous.
been with him ever since he popped off.
Has it? What was it that many yet for?
Yeah, I mean, even again, like it's just again, he's balling out, but like at the same time, it's just yes, he's doing well, but at the same time, it's not even won a Ballon d'Or or done anything like that. And he's acting like he's the best player in the league or in
I
the
mean,
world right now.
no, but that's because we are all the not we. That's because the media is tracking him like that. It's
I
not.
do think so
I don't even blame him.
because I don't know. I think he's getting too much at a young age, and then also again adding the fact that he's playing 60 matches a year and he's 17 years old and he hasn't fully grown.
Yeah,
I think he is.
that is my bigger concern.
I
Like with
think
his
he is.
private life, if he gets like the correct people like around him at some point,
I
that
hope he does.
hopefully figures itself out. But what I'm scared of is like Dash and I are saying for a while now that Barcelona is running
Players
their
into the ground.
children into the ground.
But
Yeah,
that's the thing, Dave. It's a culminating effect, right? If you are not doing well, like private life wise, and you're not taking care of yourself
yeah,
there, that is add 60 matches a season.
yeah.
That's not going to be good for you. And that's where again, I think again, where him getting involved in stupid stuff like this or doing dumb things. And I'm not saying this is stupid, right? I kind of picked it because this was something that was just going out of proportion and it was just being blown up on the internet. And I kind of wanted to talk about this. But for me, I think again, because like for example, I think the same thing with Mbappe. I think Mbappe is incredibly selfish and doesn't know how to work with the players around him. And I think that's
Oh
gonna
no, he
stifle
does. He is very selfish, yeah.
yeah,
And
and
it will cost him in the long term. Like
I think
maybe
so.
he will win his Ballon d'Ors and everything because he's like always scoring like a shit ton of goals and
Yeah,
breaks
but he's never gonna win anything.
30 goals. But he's not going to win, like if this continues, not going to win the Champions League and all of that.
No, I
Because you
don't
have
think
to sacrifice in this sport these days, you have to sacrifice for the team. And he doesn't do anything. He doesn't press. He is dude. Ronaldo, when he was younger at Mbappe's age, Ronaldo was pressing. He was running around. He was winning the ball. He was playing on the wing as a striker wherever the team needed him. And Mbappe doesn't sacrifice for the team.
no, he doesn't. You know, there is one thing I will say this. 2007, 2008, Ronaldo was an absolute demon.
Dude,
42 goals as a winger.
that was incredible. Yeah.
He was a fucking demon.
Dude, that was the time like I felt in love with football, like in depth, right? Like the early 2000s, and that was then seeing the new kid like basically on the block breaking through Manchester United, like killing teams in the Champions League. Because I wasn't like watching Premier League back then. Like
He was
I haven't watched the league titles they won versus Chelsea and Arsenal at that time. Like
he was hitting
I
40
only saw him in the Champions League, man, and
he
it
was
was
hitting
incredible.
like 35-meter, 40-meter goals like it was
Yeah.
nothing.
Like bicycle kicks, dribbling, the tricks he was doing back then. Dude, that
Like,
it
oh
was
my,
crazy.
it's never
It was
happened
crazy to
again.
watch.
There hasn't been a winger in the Premier League. Even Salah can't even touch those numbers.
No,
Bale, Salah, I don't think anyone is, and I think he was 23 at the time when he was doing
yeah,
this. Like, I don't think anyone will touch 2007, 2008
yeah,
Ronaldo.
yeah.
Like, that was like, oh my goodness. It didn't matter who
Dude,
was in the middle. Tevez,
he
Rooney.
he single-handedly like prolonged that Manchester United dominance for a while. Because without him, even though of course Man U had incredible players like Leicester at that time. Without Ronaldo, they wouldn't be like as as dominant as they were.
You know, it makes me wonder if Ronaldo never left Man United and stayed there. Like the trajectory of the club and what would have happened if
Oh,
Ronaldo stayed.
what them for the club and for him. I think it would have been great for both, right?
Do you
But
think so this is again we're kind of derailing here, but do you think if he stayed at Man United, would it have been better than what he would have done at Real Madrid? Because I think he went to Real Madrid because he wanted
oh,
to directly compete with Messi. I think that was the main reasoning behind it.
yeah, look, Real Madrid at that time, Real Madrid wasn't even
They were shit.
they were shit. He came into a like Real Madrid, like sort of a banter era. They on how many Champions League titles were there at that time?
9.
8, 9, something like that. So they were just one above Liverpool, or sorry, two above Liverpool, one above Milan, I believe.
No, 2.
So, oh, sorry, two as well. Yeah,
Liverpool had 5 or 6, Milan had 7.
Liverpool is at 7. So yeah, at that point, yeah, you're right. And he went to that Real Madrid project and built it up, but knowingly that Real Madrid, if it's like in a healthy space, that's the club with the biggest exposure out there. And he went there. And credit to him for taking that step because Manchester United maybe at that time was the third biggest, like behind Real Madrid and Barcelona. Like it's Manchester United, or it was at least. And that's the only step he could have made up into an even bigger Shark Tank. And he did that then.
And
Like
and again, I think
credit to him.
he effectively built that decade of
Yeah,
dominance for Real Madrid.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
he
Of
literally
course.
did, like, they even, like, for example, even after they left, like, they had an off year, but they still got back up to it just because of
Yeah.
everything that was put into place.
But the crazy thing is they were never or didn't have like a dominant time in La Liga, but they
No,
dominated the Champions League.
I just think they never cared.
Like
That's why
that
I'm
is
saying
that
I think,
yeah,
like, for example, I think if he stayed at Man United, I think Ferguson wouldn't have retired when he did, and I think Ferguson would have stayed a little bit longer,
yeah,
or, again, you would have had more draw into it,
yeah,
and as the Premier League was growing and it became what it is now, like, if Ronaldo stayed at Man United all that time, he would have gotten a couple of trebles. I think he would have probably won more Champions Leagues than he did at Real Madrid.
yeah, yeah,
Because effectively, because like, for example, his first 2, 3 seasons at Real Madrid, like, first 3, 4, because it was what, his 5th season there? Because he went in 2009, 2010, and then they won 13, 14, so about 3 to 4
13, yeah,
years. So it took him 3 to 4 years to actually win it. Or, like, for example, Man United was in the final in 2011, and if he
yeah,
was there, it would have been a
yeah,
different. I think, again, that's a great speculation to have, but I know 50 to 60% of the reason why he went there was he wanted to compete with Messi.
yeah,
Because he even said it himself. He's like, "That was one of the main reasons why I went over." And, yeah, so, Milan has 7, Liverpool and Bayern have 6 apiece. So, Liverpool needs one more to catch Milan. Too bad Milan's not gonna add anything to that tally anytime soon.
yeah. You don't know on the max.
You know he wants Moise Kean on that team?
Yeah,
I heard he's
I
trying to go after
I
Moise
I
Kean.
I said bring the band back together, man.
Moise Kean goes to Milan, pops
Yeah,
off, gets 30 goals
yeah,
a season. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's poetic
yeah.
justice.
No, but my last point before we finally close the show out. I don't know how it is for you, but I will forever remember Cristiano Ronaldo not for his Real Madrid jersey, but that Manchester United Nike
Yeah.
AEG jersey with the white stripe on the back. That
Joga,
was
the
unbelievable.
Joga Ronaldo.
Dude, I that is what I will remember him for forever.
Yeah, for me, that's my favorite Ronaldo is Man United Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I just
Honestly, I have never seen a player with better technical ability than that Ronaldo in that era.
you know,
Like,
I've always said it, like, for me, the prime era of footy was from 2000 to 2010.
yeah.
That was, like, the best era. Like, people sit here and say the '90s, I disagree. I think the golden era of
I
football.
haven't seen the 90s like consciously. I was born 94. So the first couple of years dude, I I was shitting my pants at the time. I'm not remembering anything football related. So for me it was the early
Well,
to
yeah.
to mid
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
KB's right there with the comment because Ronaldo in, like, 2013, 2014 got, like, tendinitis not tendinitis, but tendinotis or something, where, like, the, tendon that was in his knee was degrading. So, like,
Yeah.
he injured it, and it was like a degradation injury per se, and after that, he had to, like, switch his play style, and he couldn't do all the stuff that he was doing on the wing
But
because that was
dude, to
he
make that transition then and become a 9, like a true number 9, like that is crazy to me. It's usually you don't do that, like moving from a winger to an elite number 9. That is crazy.
yeah, again, you gotta give that guy credit for what he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, like, right now, Messi's 37, and he's at Miami and friends, where, like, Ronaldo was carrying us to Scudettos, or he carried us to a Scudetto. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That time Messi was getting destroyed in the Champions League with Barcelona by
yeah, getting, 8-2 by Bayern. And again, sorry, that's one of the reasons why I've always kind of held Ronaldo a little bit higher than Messi just because of his adaptability and what he's done. And I feel bad because, like, if Ronaldo didn't force himself to come back for that World Cup, I don't think his knee injury would have been as bad. And then that's also true, KB. Messi's game compared to Ronaldo at 27 is Messi's a lot weaker. Like, for example, if you were to take prime Premier League Ronaldo, like 07, 08 Ronaldo, and you compared it to Messi at that age, like Messi's age, like, for example, because Ronaldo's 23, you compared to Messi at 23, that Ronaldo is miles ahead better. I'm sorry. I don't think you will ever see the level of wing play that Ronaldo had at that age. I can't, especially when you have Xavi and Iniesta feeding you balls every game. Like, cool, you got the 94 or 92 calendar goals a season, but at the end of the day, Ronnie was just hitting piss rockets, man. And on that note, make sure you like and subscribe.
Close this bitch.
Close this bitch. See you, folks.